From the TV Guide, fresh off the shock of recent events, the team uses a party as a ruse to corner the collaborators. Season 2, Episode 19, MHORDER of Quantico, starts right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey guys, welcome to the after show for Quantico on ABC. I'm your host, Drexel Heard. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, not Twitter, Instagram, but Twitter and Instagram at Drexel Heard, and on Facebook at Official Drexel Heard. I'm back with the panel today, Mr. Timothy Michael to my left.
Hey everybody, Timothy Michael here. You can reach me on all social media platforms at I am Timothy Mike, and I'm so happy to have my partner in crime back with me to my left.
Hey guys, I'm Renee, and you can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Renee Ariel, and check out my blog, sextingandthecity.com.
And be sure to follow AFTERBUZZ at AFTERBUZZ TV. Use the hashtag ABTVQuantico to join the conversation on social media. And if you're in the chat room, hello. If you are leaving comments down below, hello as well. So let's start with episode 19, guys. MHORDER. What'd you think?
I really enjoyed this episode. I actually wrote down a note to kind of summarize the whole episode for me. I kind of like this game of chess that they're doing with these collaborators, and like the collaborators being 2 steps ahead, but no, the rogue team has to be 2 steps ahead. That's what I'm calling them, the rogue team. But then the collaborators are 2 steps. Like, I like this back and forth thing because it keeps me excited about the show.
Yeah, I really liked this episode. There were moments that I was like, oh gosh, because they're just, I don't know, with some of these dynamics, and just, it's kind of like one of those moments where like, Quantico, like one of those, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
It should be like a romantic comedy instead of like a drama. Yeah, I feel you.
Also, just quick side note, guys, literally how many seasons and problems is it going to take for everyone to know Alex is always right?
True.
Just saying. Okay, that's enough.
I mean...
Yeah, we'll talk about when and where we thought Alex was right and where we thought Alex was wrong. Let's just review for everybody where we are with the cash, which kind of takes us into this big episode. So, Tim, I know last week you had everybody's name written down, so why don't you review with us who the members of the cash are as we know them?
Yes, so we have Thomas Roth, who is the law part, Christian Kelly, who's the money, Henry Rourke, who is the government, who's pretty much who's been the predominant person throughout the series. Maxwell Fletcher, who's the ideologist, or ideology part. We've got Rebecca Sherman, logistics, but she's dead. Technology, Peter Teo. Media is Warren Shepard, and defense is Alice Winter.
So all of those guys are targets for tonight's main task, which is to expose them. Basically, this is the big game. This is what this whole season has been about: finding out who these people are, and going after them one by one. This time it was Owen's idea to do it in public, and the way that we do that was circling back to where we came from at the beginning of the second half of this season, which was by asking Maxine to jump on board. With a big party, this time her engagement party. She seemed a little reluctant, and I actually wrote down, just in her reluctance, it almost, I didn't know if I trusted her.
I knew you were gonna say that. I mean, who can you trust on the show, honestly?
That's what I'm saying.
But in my opinion, I feel like she was very flip-floppy this episode. Like, and this has been her character for me for these last few episodes that she's been in, is I don't necessarily know if I like her. I don't know if I don't like her, but clearly she can't tell who she likes and who she doesn't like either. So I guess we're on the same page.
Oh yeah, that quote she had where she was like, oh, it's if it isn't the man I love and 2 people I don't. Like, why, Maxine? Just why?
But then later on in the episode, she's like, oh, Shelby, you should join my roster. You'd be so great at it.
Yeah.
It's just a little confusing.
I agree. I actually don't trust Maxine just because of the way they're setting her up, because it seems what they're trying to do is make Shelby and Clay like these lovers that like can't be together because like he's engaged and she had sex with his father and his brother. But you know, I think they're still trying to set it up and make it romantic between the two, and they're like, oh, it's so hard that we can't be together, even though they were never together and he's been engaged this whole time. So it makes me think what the show is going to do is make her out to be a bad guy, because that is literally the only way that they can have Shelby and Caleb be together
Clay.
I love Caleb. Have Shelby and Clay be together without everyone kind of getting mad.
But then at the same time, I'm like, they can't turn another wife, girlfriend, fiance, whatever. Like, they've done it with, what's her face, Sebastian's wife. They did it with, try to do it, I guess, with Sasha. But we still don't really know where that is turning. They also did it with, oh gosh, I'm blanking on her name.
Maybe not necessarily your significant other. Maybe somebody in your family. Maybe somebody that's been close. We saw it with Miranda's son in the first season, where he was not necessarily bad, but he kind of was, and then he ends up getting killed at the end. We saw that with Lydia. Then of course we saw that with. Just several people. I wouldn't even say we saw that with what's his name from the first season?
Simon?
Not Simon. Who was the other instructor?
Oh gosh, I'm blanking out his name, but I know his face. She had the romantic thing with Miranda.
We see, but it's not necessarily wives but it is definitely people close to each other. I just thought that Sasha was just a little bit like, I'm sorry, Maxine was just a little bit. I was like, okay, but I don't think with 3 episodes left in the season that we're now the show, again, like we said, is moving at warp speed. I just don't think that Maxine, like when I wrote it down, looking back at it, I'm like, well, I mean, there's 3 episodes left. We can't really bring her back into the fold. Like she can't be. We would have if Maxine had been involved in some way, we would have found out this episode.
But then again, at the same time, I can play devil's advocate and say, who else could have access to Clay's apartment, office, and all this stuff? I mean, obviously the collaborators do have this endless amount of resources, but like we said, it's always the closest people to you. So
wait, for which part?
For the beginning, when somebody's hacking his office and stuff like that.
That was what's his face, Felix.
Oh, that was Felix.
Yeah, because Felix pretended to be drunk and wanted to hack into his emails.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a woman.
No. Right? That's what we confirmed. It was Felix, because that's why they said the whole he never gets drunk.
So Felix Felix attempted to hack into go into their house, although we didn't even see that part of it.
No, we did not. However,
which was weird.
Because it was all from the wife who said that. But, I mean, did we really need to see it? Did they jam enough into the episode? Like, it kind of seemed like they implied it for the audience and didn't really need to show it, because we already knew that Felix was going to have to turn on everyone because of, oh gosh, what is his name?
Who?
The guy,
Clayton?
No.
Guys, we're blanking on our names tonight.
What are we talking about? Say that again. No. Just explain it to me one more time.
Felix, his dad is on
Rourke.
Yeah, Rourke.
Yes.
Rourke.
His boss.
Because his boss.
Rourke is his boss.
Yes.
He's his assistant.
He's his assistant.
Yes.
There we go.
He's his legislative
Felix is Rourke's
assistant.
Okay, but anyways, because he was threatening Felix, and Felix had to turn on everyone else.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So now the team is in the field. They've convinced Maxine. Maxine is now, as Clay referred to her as Mrs. Smith, referring to them being Mr. and Mrs. Smith now that he's in the CIA. Or the CIA, the FBI, whatever their joint task force is. So let's run through everybody's targets. So Alex has Fletcher. She has to kind of convince him to be an ambassador, like not necessarily convince him, but like offer him an ambassadorship in return for flipping. So now they're having to.
So they had their targets.
They have their targets and they have a specific reason.
Yeah.
Ryan has Alice Walker. Nima has Shepard. Is that Rain? No.
It's only Raina.
It's Raina. She's posing as Nima, but it's really Raina.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So Raina is doing has Shepard, but then she takes over Felix. Owen has Kelly, and then Shelby has Peter Theo.
Is it just me, or is everybody on this? Every male collaborator is gay. Did anybody pick up on that? Because they were talking about in the beginning Maxwell Fletcher's ex-husband, and then they were talking about Peter Theo's ex. Now he's not sitting at the same table as his ex-boyfriend or something like that, or they had something with a messenger for 20 minutes, and I was like, I feel like all of the collaborators
except for
work, yeah. And another thing that I want to point out is that I love when they get dressed up, and I don't know if it's because I have like PTSD from when they were all in the Quantico uniforms in the first season, but I love when they all get dressed up and it looks so good, except for Raina in this episode. I thought that dress was not...
I don't even remember her dress.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, and I mean, I didn't really pay attention to that so much, but...
well, the only reason I paid attention to that was because when she went to have a drink with Felix, I was like, it must be really hard for her to, because she's so religious, to have a drink and to wear a dress like that. And they addressed it in this episode, which I was glad that they did. But she had played it off really well and said, no, Nima's... I'm not the religious one. My sister is, referring to Raina as Nima.
She did not play it off that well.
I mean, I thought she played it off that well.
Yeah, and I mean, this is not what's crazy is this is not the first time in 2 episodes that the twins have been exposed. So they're not very good at playing opposite each other.
Anymore.
And they're not very good at,
Yeah.
they're not very good at hiding their tracks. So
They need
I think
Miranda
that's
again.
that's a little bit of a problem. Yeah, they do need Miranda to come back as a handler. Miranda was back last episode. If you guys are just catching up to us, but yeah, that was a little bit weird. Real quick, I know we're gonna get to some social media a little bit later on. I'm just gonna tell the engineer that I think I sent it to a 423 email, so it might say from yesterday, just not today because I put the wrong date. So, now they are in the field, and their covers are starting to get blown.
Yeah.
And it's a little weird.
It's
like dominoes.
Yeah.
Just boop, 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 boop. And it's like they were in their, it's like our team was in their ears, and then their team, their side was in their ears. And then everybody just nobody could get it together.
Well, because everybody thought they had a leg up on each other, and it was just like, no, I'm one up, no, I'm one up, no, I'm one up. And that's what was crazy about the episode.
Yeah.
So...
I thought you were going to elaborate on that.
No, I agree. I don't know, it threw me off because every time that you thought one character had it, they didn't. But especially that bugged me was Raina. I need to go back to Raina for a second. It really bugged me that when he said we already had this conversation, she didn't say anything aside from like, I think I need another drink. That bugged me so much. Like, you've pretended to be your sister before. You couldn't think of anything else to say to be any more convincing.
Yeah.
Like, fake it till you make it. Like, why would you just kind of give up?
Or just don't lie and just be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
you
one
know.
or the other. But don't be like,
what do you want to do about it? Obviously, I'm not arrested. Obviously, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, this is the situation. You're telling me like it is. So let's just be straight with each other. And that's what, I feel like that's what Nima would have done.
You think so?
Yeah.
Or played it off
better? She would definitely play it off better. She would have definitely been a little bit more direct than her sister. And, because she had already gotten caught in that lie at the beginning. Not necessarily lie, but that repeat of telling him about his sister. And now he's like, but I already went through that again.
That's when I would have said, like, I know, I just wanted to I don't know, you think of something.
Right. And not only that, I feel like this episode really did dive into the differences between Raina and Nima and how maybe, I don't want to say the word unqualified, but maybe unprepared, Raina is because she hasn't had her feet wet for as long as Nima has. Because even in the beginning, when Caleb and her were having this conversation about Shelby, Raina was like, no, there's nothing going on between her and Clay. But if it was Nima would have been like, no, there's something going on, and I'm going to stop it. Right. Because she knows her so well.
Right. And speaking of trying to stop something from happening, the team cannot seem to get Rourke from leaving.
Oh, yeah.
So Clay asks everybody for a plan. Caleb just so happens to have an inner ear in, and he gets up there to make a toast. And, it was a little weird. I didn't know where he was going. And then I was like, oh, that's kind of inappropriate, but that's so great.
I mean, I would think that Rourke would have realized how many people were trying to stall him. And the same thing goes for Felix. Like, it was one after the other that he was trying to leave, and people were like, no, wait, no, wait, no, wait. I'm like, you're not that popular in order to, like, have all of these people. Like, it would have put up a red flag for me, personally. I would have been like, why is everyone trying to get my attention now? But then at the same time, you're at an engagement party, so maybe your guard is down. But at the same time, you're a collaborator, so should your guard ever be down? I don't know.
But I think it goes back to not trying to make a scene. Like, if someone makes a toast, you're not just gonna, like, leave. You have to stay, otherwise you're going to be... It will make some sort of a scene if you're the only one leaving. So everything that they were doing, I mean, it wasn't really working on him. He kept trying to leave, but at the same time, I guess what they were doing was working because it kept on making him stay, at least for an extra second.
Yeah.
One of the weird, and I talk about where the president moves a lot. One of the weird things about President Haas, her taking Rourke to the side, was that she was not in that room at all. She came to the edge of that room. She didn't really talk to anybody. Now, it's your son's engagement party, the President of the United States. People are going to wonder, if that room is full of reporters or anybody, they're going to wonder why the President of the United States is not in the room. And then there's going to be questions asked about why the President's not there, why she pulled the Speaker of the House aside. Is there something national security related? So that would have kept people buzzing. And I feel like if this had been any other show, phones would have been going off.
But they had the jammer, remember? Nobody has cell service in there.
Oh, I just meant like people would
No,
have,
I
would
see
have
what
been
you're
buzzing.
saying. I think that we just need to let go of this whole, the president is as high profile.
Oh, no, because
in the
there's
show.
something later on in the show that I've
Really?
written down that I'm like, once again, Quantico writers need to do a little bit more research when it comes to certain things. So President Haas takes Rourke into this side room. Obviously, surprisingly enough, this was a room that was not bugged. How, I don't know.
Well, she had an earpiece in, but she took it out.
Yeah, but every other inch of the room was bugged. Even and we'll talk about Ryan and Winter. There was a contingency plan there. Like, there was nothing recorded in this room other than her bluff. Keep taking this earpiece out. So I thought it was a little weird that she took them to this room, that there was no surveillance on them in there.
That's true. I
And
about that.
then she passes him this resignation letter, and I'm like, what are you doing, girl?
I was like, you're bluffing.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't think
I
about
don't think
it.
that she was bluffing at that point when she first started, because before she even started that whole thing, she didn't have word that they had Alice.
No, the whole time it was his resignation letter. It
Yeah.
was.
So
The
I guess
whole
she
thing
was
was a
bluffing the
play. She
entire
was
time.
bluffing. Yeah.
I mean, she's clearly, obviously, a very good bluffer, and
She could totally gamble.
and yeah.
Well, she's the president.
She is she is a politician.
Yeah.
It is nothing but bluffing. I thought that was a really great scene
between the two.
between the two of them, and it showed a little bit of like vulnerability with President Haas, because you're like, she doesn't quite know what is going to happen until she gets that note from Caleb, and she's like,
and then she's like, now I got my power.
right. It's like I don't know if you remember in Home Alone 2, where Tim Curry's character finds out that Kevin McAllister is not the guy with the credit card, and he's got that like Grinch smile on his face. Like, that's what I got from that scene. Maybe that's what the director was going for, because it looked exactly like that.
That was a great moment.
It was a good moment. So then she picks it up, walks out the door. But then Ryan is now we're in this situation where Ryan... it goes back to what you said where at the beginning, where you're like, Alex always has to be right, and one of them, instead of them all being a hero, one of them has to be a hero. And Ryan took it upon himself to kind of go rogue on this mission again, and take Winter out into this thing. Yeah, I know, maybe it's just me, like, I know that you want to be, that you want to like do your part and get your asset to do whatever you need to do, whatever you need to do to get your asset, but not at the expense of going alone without telling anybody that you're going out alone.
Well, I feel like they all do that, especially Alex.
Alex, especially.
Yeah, and maybe that's where Ryan gets it from. Like, he's always trying to one up Alex.
Everybody clearly was trying to one up everybody on the show.
I mean, not Shelby. Like Shelby doesn't really do it. Nima and Raina don't really do it.
Shelby so does it.
Shelby's too busy trying to figure out who she's going to sleep with next.
But that's when she does it with like Leon. Before we knew Leon wasn't bad, she was going off with him.
That's true.
Going rogue per se. Like, yeah, and
Nima and Raina are always trying to one up each other.
They're
No, I'm the better agent.
always-
No, I'm the better agent. So you
Okay.
do have a point.
For instance, even Nima and Raina switching places to repair their relationship when it's really not helping the mission because Raina is not as good as Nima doing this stuff, and it's making me crazy because if only Raina would be more understanding, like, there's more at stake here than our relationship. So
Yeah.
maybe I should go to,
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello to everybody in the chat room. Alley Cat Diva, Fantasy Stats, Chels M90. Another face you maybe you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about this one at the end. She did. Alley Cat Diva did mention at the beginning because we were talking about people who have been like turned or anything. They talked about Ryan's first wife.
That's who. Yes. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
And yes, Fantasy Stats Joe. We'll get to Kate a little bit here in a little bit, but so Ryan's out on this mission now. And he gets back to the team, and he's all happy. Like, no, we're gonna do it my way now because Owen's way wasn't like. I was like, where is this coming from? At this point, like nobody's the leader anymore. Like Clay's kind of tapped out mentally.
Clay's always been tapped out.
Yeah.
That is one of my biggest criticisms of this group because Clay, I feel like, is not a leader for this group, and he shows it every single episode. Like after they had all gotten caught, and this is with I guess we'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah, I mean, he's tapped out. Owen's like trying not to be the leader because he doesn't want to step on anybody's toes. And then you got alpha male Ryan trying to step in over alpha female Alex, who is like, guys, we're falling into a trap again. What is this trap?
And just question: when has Alex's paranoia that we thought been wrong?
You didn't know that Alex had a spidey sense, did you? She's got a spidey sense.
She's got it.
Apparently does.
But okay, this is what really bothers me is every time, every season, every half season, Alex goes, "Hey guys, I know it seems to be this way, but I think it's this way." And everyone's like, "Oh no, Alex, girl, you crazy."
Right.
Every time, Alex is right. Every time.
But then I feel like in this instance, I feel like they were backed into a corner because, as we said before, every one of their targets was one up on them. So the only person that got a lead in was Ryan with Alice. So he jumped on that. He cleared it with keys to go forward with it, and then that's what happened. I feel like they were just backed into a corner, and that's why they had to go. the route they did.
No.
But that's the crazy thing about this whole thing is that they're not reporting to Keys. So how could Keys have given an order? They're reporting to the president.
What do you mean?
Well, the president and Keys.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, Keys hasn't really been, like, he hasn't really been a part of this whole thing. He hasn't come down to the bunker.
At
all. The president's been calling these shots. So for Ryan to, here's the thing. For Ryan to have gone to the male head instead of going to the president, or instead of going to her son, like, you just skipped over a whole bunch of other people that you probably should have gone to first, that have been a part of your team the whole time, that have been calling the shots the whole time. But no, instead of going to amongst those people, you go to the one person who's kind of been out of it to see if you can get their approval on it.
Yeah, it just really frustrated me because even in that moment, like, how about remember that Alex isn't some crazy paranoid person? How about recognize that she's very intelligent, she is usually right, and she's worth trusting. Like, how about even for a second be like, let me hear, what do you think we should do?
Right.
How about for a second? And then if there's really no other option, then go for it.
Yeah.
But literally you're like, no, I'm gonna do this. I'm Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. Like, it was stupid.
And speaking of stupid, I thought that when all the files got erased, I'm like, guys, like,
There's no backup.
there's no backup. Who didn't back it up? First of all,
Clay.
And then like but all of them, they're all computer geniuses at some point.
Yeah, but it was
some
hacked from
level.
Clay's office, so it was all on Clay.
Yeah, but they don't have
Right.
more, I agree.
Right, but I mean, somebody should have been like, "Are you backing this up? Are this drives back there?
I'm just saying, as a leader,
Is
you have
Lydia
take
going to
us
steal
all.
them again? Like, you know what I mean? So I mean, remember the last time we backed some shit up? It got stolen, so let's put it away somewhere where nobody can find it. In the cloud, I don't know. It wasn't in the cloud. They weren't using MacBooks. See, that's the problem. That is the problem. That is why you cannot use PCs anymore unless we have a Microsoft sponsor.
Mickey's busy.
Yay, Microsoft. But Yeah, so they didn't back it up, and then but nobody was like, okay, who could it have been? Who had access to this place? How did they get in? Could it have been hacked from the outside? Like nobody thought of like, should we like counter? Like, should we find out who hacked it? Like nobody was thinking about that. Caleb Clay's over there like, it's over.
Yeah,
We're
that
done.
that is what I was talking
Clay.
about with his leadership abilities, because I'm like, he's the first person to always give up first. So it's like, where are your leadership abilities? Like, can you at least think outside of the box like Alex? Can you at least give some kind of hope to this team? But you don't. You just sit there and you give up.
I can't with Clay's character for a lot of reasons, especially one scene in particular that I'm sure we'll get
Yeah.
to.
And then there was the part about and then Alley Cat Diva said my biggest question was why wasn't Clay's computer password protected? He and that's the crazy thing is that he got a 2-step verification earlier in the day about his other computer being hacked. How did Clay not get a 2-step verification about this?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
actually thinking the same thing.
And how
Come
about-
on, Quantico writers. I really need you to like step it up on the consistency portion of it.
Also, for all those people that know Alex so well, how did no one think, oh wait, where's Alex? Where's Owen? All of these files got deleted. Alex has gone rogue before. Not once. Not anyone. No Shelby saying this. Like no one thought maybe Alex could have been a part of this.
Yeah, everybody's like, where's Alex and Owen?
Weird. But back to the files.
Right. Where could they have gone? You know, and Ryan, who has always been the most suspicious of Alex,
Yep. So
didn't
nothing.
go. Boop.
I bet Alex said nothing.
Nothing.
They did. Especially the last time we saw them, Alex and Ryan butt heads about what they should do next,
Right.
and no one thought.
Right.
No one thought it was Alex.
Yeah, Alex just guys, what are we gonna do? So then Shelby runs in. She's like, everybody, turn on the TV, and then there's the news blaring about President Haas undercover. Ryan's on screen with the camera from the guy from the Washington Post. Alice Winter set him up.
Yep.
And surprise
Which,
there.
It's not that much of a surprise, you guys, because literally.
No, I mean, we
that
were being
was so-
sarcastic.
Yeah, of course. But I just want to point this out really quick though, because Alice Winter is the defense part of the collaborators. So you would think that out of everybody, she would be the one who is defending this entire operation. So you
Right.
literally cracked you thought you cracked the one person who.
Thought you cracked the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought her use of the knight knocking over, I couldn't tell if it was the bishop or the rook or the
It was the knight knocking over the king.
over the king. But
Also-
why was Ryan the king and not the like a pawn or
Because
the
he thought he was
bishop?
the king.
really-
I think you're dubbing a little bit.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to.
She really had time to like go through her gifts and like figure out.
Hey, listen, it
this
takes
is
me.
a good
Let
one.
me tell you what.
Hey.
She probably had that queued up.
Yeah,
she
but
was
like
ready.
why? Like you think when it's something this serious, like I'm gonna show him.
I do all the
Like,
time. I send gifts
wow,
very quickly.
You're not ruining the world, as far as I know.
To some Republicans. That was a little weird. One thing I do want to point out is that they brought up why congressional committees and Congress people and people were starting to bring up the president's impeachment, articles of impeachment, because they were citing explicitly, and this is what happens when you have shows that explicitly state certain things. Like in the past, a couple episodes ago, we talked about Senate bill and what S bills
And they
mean and
did
House
it
bills
wrong.
mean and stuff like that. This is explicit, and they said it. 1870 Posse Comatus Act. Its purpose is to limit the powers of the federal government in using federal military personnel to enforce domestic policies in the United States. It specifically applies to the U.S. Army, and then in 1956 it applied to the U.S. Air Force. So, in my head, if I was Clay, if I was President Haas, if I was the White House, I would say, actually, it does not apply to my team because they're CIA and they're FBI. They're not military. They are intelligence agencies. I mean, even though the military does have its own intelligence unit, there are intelligence officers, that does not make them CIA or FBI.
I think Quantico writers forget that they have viewers like Drexel Heard.
I just want to make sure that if we're gonna like throw information out there, if we're just gonna use like it in the context of like why would the president like, or maybe it was just used as somebody threw it out there. Oh my God, the 1870 this act, and then maybe that's what was thrown up there the first time. But like, scripts go through a lot of writing and a lot of research to get that. The least you could do is like throw up a good reason for articles of impeachment.
Yeah.
At least something with some substance behind it. So now we're there. We know that President Haas may have to just take her own letter of resignation back, and we'll see what happens there. So let's talk about. So that's where we are. I also wrote down Bye Bye Caleb.
I have a question about that, and maybe I didn't pay enough attention, but I'm pretty sure in the original tease that they said when they were like, Caleb's coming back, and then they made us wait for another like 2.5 weeks. When they showed the scene of him initially coming back, he was at a dinner table, like at a restaurant, with Shelby. I don't think we've seen that yet.
Maybe he's not going back to school.
That's what I'm thinking.
You mean
I
in the
think
next episode?
I don't know. Do you remember in the original tease for Caleb coming back? I swear I remember it like it was yesterday. It was Caleb and Shelby at a dinner table, like at a restaurant. And I don't think I've seen that yet. So I don't know if he's actually gone, or if they pulled that from like a past season and I just didn't remember. But I swear the clip that they showed of Caleb in the restaurant has not been shown.
Maybe Caleb doesn't leave because now his mom has got to go through all of this stuff, and they need all hands on deck at this point.
All hands on deck.
Speaking of relationships like Caleb and stuff like that, let's talk about some of those relationships. Let's talk about the relationship between Caleb and Shelby, because Caleb came in. Do you think that Caleb, based on everything that we've seen, and especially through the end, do you think Caleb was brought there for that specific reason?
No. What, to not make sure that Clay and Shelby don't get together?
I mean, like that Shelby brought him there for that reason. Or that it just evolved, they just kind of evolved into that later.
No, I definitely think it evolved. I think that once he came in and saw the dynamic between Clay and Shelby, then he was like, no, this isn't going to work. Because he's seen it before. He's seen it with himself. He's seen it with her and his father. But I feel like he went there just to help the entire team.
I agree. Yeah, I think it evolved as well. I honestly don't quite understand why Shelby reached out to Caleb, because I don't know how he really helped, aside from like on accident from time to time, like during this
for
speech.
This toast.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, what was Shelby thinking was going to happen? Like, Caleb was going to come down and give his brother a pep talk? Clearly, they don't have a great relationship.
What's really interesting is that there was a moment in the car with, and this goes into Clay and Shelby's relationship as well. There's a moment in the car there was two moments with Clay and Maxine. There was the moment where he kissed her and said, thank you for saving Shelby.
Yeah.
Which at first I was like, why the fuck would you say that? Or then I was like, but that's one of his team members. Maybe he just didn't think about it.
I mean, but the look on Maxine's face kind of went with your first reaction.
Right.
Like, why would you?
And then in the car, she says, something about a wall. Like,
you're just married.
You're just married. Put a wall between you and that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if subconsciously Shelby brought Caleb back to put a wall up between her and Clay.
That is possible. I remember actually when that scene with Clay and Maxine where he was saying the marriage thing, about like pushing up the marriage, I immediately thought like when people try to rush things like let's get married now, like there's always like other issues. Like if you can't wait
like a baby.
Like a baby, but like a Shelby. And I didn't even think like maybe that was the same on Shelby's end, but it does make sense because otherwise, literally why? Like, why? I mean, for us, thanks, but why?
Right.
Well, another thing that really bugged me with Shelby and Clay's relationship was toward the end when he was having that conversation with her, and he was like, I just need you not to catch me if I fall a month from now, 10 years from now. And I was like, this is so... I didn't even know what the words were.
It was very soap opera-y.
I was like, that's your job. Like, you shouldn't be putting that on the woman. Like, if she's not making a move toward you, but you're making a move toward her, why is it her job to be like, no, you have a wife. Like, you should already be thinking that.
Yeah, it's just a little question I have. You know, when you're like head over heels for someone and really in love with someone and committed to someone, this is not a conversation you have with anyone else. Honestly, I would be more offended as the fiance to hear that you had this conversation with someone saying like, yo, like when I want to eventually with you, just say no. Like, say no, because I won't be able to control myself. Even though I'm in a committed relationship, I won't be able to say no, so you gotta say no, cool? Yeah. That's messed up. Maybe you shouldn't be engaged to begin with, because you clearly have issues with commitment. If it's not Shelby, it'll be someone else, because honestly, what has Shelby done besides sleep with your dad and your brother? She's not a witch, people. She's not some. She doesn't have some magical love spell. She's just Shelby.
Well, that's what I was gonna go. I wish that they would develop her character a little bit more. Like, give her some witty lines, or give her like an enormous sex appeal. But Shelby is just Shelby. Like,
Shelby
she's
got
like
sex appeal.
No, she
Don't
does.
y'all
She's
talk
beautiful,
about Shelby like
but
that.
I'm just saying, like, she doesn't have anything to literally win over 3 members of the same family.
She's got smarts. She's got money.
She's really cute, but like,
she's cute. Yeah.
For me, it would be a big
but it
enough
must be
turn-off.
really good.
Maybe we need a straight guy on the panel to like give us some insight into this.
Right?
Because
Like, what do you think?
Yeah.
But you would think that it would be such a big turnoff for this woman to have slept with your brother and your father, and now you're like, I see it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How awkward would Christmas be if they got together?
Who's she gonna end up with this year, you guys?
It's a harem at the
like
house.
Shelby Roulette.
Fantasy Stats Guru says because everybody's talking about Caleb's comments about Shelby sleeping with the Haas family, and there was a comment: "Are you sleeping with her too?"
Yeah.
Talking about the president. Fantasy Stats Guru said, "It came straight out of our discussions on here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Quantico writers are probably watching our show, even though they never call in.
Weird.
But we want them to, so you can call in on the season finale. So
I kind of want to bring it back to also just a key point that we kind of didn't cover yet, which was Alex working with Fletcher at the engagement party, because that was a pretty key moment when he was like, I already know what you want, but I want you to kind of be this person with a rebirth when the government falls, and because you're a leader and a hero, and the people will turn to you. Like, he wants Alex to join his team.
Yeah, that's the second or third time that Alex has gotten sidelined by some white guy to bring her onto the team. I think that she needs to start looking at things like that a little differently. Like, you know what? The last time a white guy told me to come join his team, I was at the FBI Academy. Then the next time a white guy came to me, I was at the CIA, and look what happened at the FBI Academy. Look what happened at the CIA. And now, Fletcher, white guy, you want me to come to go to destroy the United States? See?
Sign me
Alex...
up.
Sign me up. Where do I need to sign? Like, Alex needs to start looking at that. I could be in the
spotlight. Yeah, I'll go.
Okay, here's the other thing. If they're always like 5 steps ahead, wouldn't they already know, just judging by, I don't know, Alex's entire past, that she would say yes for other reasons with ulterior motives?
Right.
Like, wouldn't they have? That's what I think. Like, they have to. If they don't, again, I won't be happy with the writing, because they have to know going into this that she has ulterior motives. If they don't,
she's a hero.
Not that smart.
She's put her life on the line too many times to save America than to just turn her back on it. It's like, wait, what? You should be going after the weakest link in this whole thing, which would probably be Clay.
She's like, I'm done. Let's just throw it all away. I'm over it.
Right. Ryan's out of my life. Raina, Nima's gone. Rima's gone. They're playing me. Got no more Miranda.
Owen's hitting on me. Feel like there's a kiss coming. I just don't want to be a part
here's
of
the
it.
thing. She didn't go with Owen. She went with the white guy because she didn't go black.
She'd never come back.
She'd
never come back.
And we know she's
She went with Owen. She'd never come back. She'd never go with Fletcher. And then that would have taken the whole show. See, the show has gone off the rails at this point. Yeah, the Owen and Alex relationship was really weird.
It's making me so uncomfortable. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, because I always thought of Owen as like either, to be honest, a father, or like an older brother, just someone older and like just different levels, like not a romance.
Yeah, maybe if they wouldn't do like close conversations, or like Owen
touching,
like looking at her.
I forget what I just said.
Really? Yeah. Because she doesn't.
Your wrist.
But here's the thing: Alex doesn't look at Owen like she looked at Ryan, but Owen looks at Alex in that way because I don't think that Owen's been in a romantic relationship as far as I remember from when we met him at the beginning of the season last year.
But which is funny because Owen had said from the beginning to Alex, like, this is never going to happen. Like, we're going to have to keep this strictly professional. Do you guys remember when she was hitting on him to, like, get him?
Yeah.
When they thought he was part of the AIC, the leader of the AIC.
Yeah.
And she
She
was
called
like,
his bluff, though. He did want to hook up with her.
I mean,
that's why it's like...
Everybody wants to hook up with
she's
Alex.
gorgeous.
Except for Shelby.
I mean, no, Shelby probably too.
No, she's not a hoss. Oh my gosh.
She's not yet.
Not her type.
Not her type.
What's your last name?
Is your last name Haas? No.
If it doesn't start with an H, I don't even want to go.
Does Caleb have a cousin?
Next. If your first name doesn't start with a C and your last name, all right, you're it. That's it. That's it. We're moving on. Yeah. So I mean, those relationships are getting a little weird. Obviously, Sasha's out of the picture now, and
Because she's dead.
So we think.
because she's dead. Yeah, exactly.
Why does no one believe that she blew up in a car?
Yeah,
Because
but
they never showed it.
I mean,
I didn't want
because
to.
remember the last time that we said, "Is Leon dead?" If we haven't seen him, we haven't
was
seen the
dead.
body. Then we saw the body. Then we saw the confirmation of that.
No, didn't we just see his hand?
But I mean, yeah, we saw his
Well,
hand.
we saw her get into a car and then it blew up.
But she didn't get in the car. I
I
don't
saw
remember
her
seeing
walk
her get in the car.
behind
I saw her
the
walk
car.
behind the car and then it blew up. So I don't know.
Conspiracy
But then it
theory.
also brings me back to the whole with Sebastian thing. They all thought that he like shot these people because he was carrying that bag and it all looked like he did. And then I was like, if they didn't show that he did it, then he didn't do it.
Wait,
Right.
Which
so
he
that's
didn't.
confirmed he didn't do
He
it
didn't
this
do it,
episode.
no,
So
no.
we just don't
No,
know
in the
who did
last
it.
episode it was confirmed.
Speaking
I
of
watched them both
Sebastian,
today.
where is Sebastian now?
Didn't he just escape? Like he's just
What-
gone?
But they had him. Excuse me, they had him like tied up or something.
But he gave them the names.
Yeah.
That's why he
Yeah.
they
And then
let
he
him
just
go.
left?
They let him go
Yeah.
because he gave him the names.
And where's Harry?
Yeah, where Harry ran as well. I don't know
No,
where
Sebastian
he ran to.
addressed that too. He had said that he
Let him-
threatened he threatened Harry to go or else he'll kill him because he just wants to look out for Harry. So Harry left. I don't know where he went.
It's an abusive
But
relationship.
see, that's another storyline that either they should have never brought in, which was Sebastian going to figure out what Carly was up to, or just leave it out because now I want to know what Carly was up to.
But that's one of my criticisms for this last half of the season is because it's going so fast. And this happened last episode when they were interrogating Sebastian. He gave them all the names at once. I was like, we thought that they were going to go each episode, take off one name, but that's not how this happened. It happened all at once, and now it's going at warp speed, and I'm like, whoa, slow down, because you're introducing storylines and characters that aren't necessary if you're not going to bring them back. Like Miranda, Sebastian, Harry. I'm like, all these people, I'm like,
Yeah, I almost feel like the first half of the season could have been like half of the first half of the season.
Yes.
Because tell me what happened in the first half of the season.
the G20
Like,
summit.
you could really break it down in like an episode.
Yeah.
One episode of us, we could go through pretty much what happened. This second half, though very intriguing, I'm very interested in the plots, is just moving so fast.
Yes.
Right. I want to. I know there's folks talking in the chat room right now. Like you said, hello, and definitely a lot of folks that leave comments below. So I want to read something. I know we're not going to pull it up, but I want to read something that somebody wrote about Alex and Owen because it's very relevant to our this episode and our conversation. GS wrote in the comments: Alex now trusts Owen like she does no one else, even though he has played her and even lied to her multiple times. He lied about Lydia, and now this person's now GS broke it down by episode. So it's a very long comment, so I'm just going to go through a couple things. He lied about Lydia and his daughter in Season 2, Episode 1. Lied about her being at the bottom of the motorboard in Season 2, Episode 4. Lied about the drone attack in Season 2, Episode 6. Owen's little death wish in Season 2, Episode 11. Yep. Trying to push her out of the assignment in Season 2, Episode 14, the list goes on. Let's not forget the grudge he held for Alex for exposing his terrorist daughter, but suddenly they're best buds.
GS is getting it in.
Yeah, I wrote fire emoji at the end of this long comment. So I definitely love comments, or we definitely love seeing comments like that. So leave them in there because there's so much, like we said, going on in this episode. Now that we've got all 8 members of the cast kind of trying to take down this government, and you know what the scary part is that is not far from this current administration and some of the people, some of the key players in the White House right now who believe in tearing down the American federal government. So, you know, whereas where Quantico is fictional, there are some people like the ideologue who is Fletcher, who I believe is the Steve Bannon of this show. Because if he is the ideology, then that is what they believe, and that they believe that the federal government should be torn down, and that there should be no federal government, basically. And that's where we are.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but every time Drexel goes off on his current political tangents, me and Renee are like, we just
Listen, it's
we will
very
just talk about the
important
show because we don't know anything about our current political
It's very
state.
important to tie them both together because it is a show that's set in a time where, you know, the writers have said this is post-Trump.
No,
and
I
this
agree
is
with
where
you, and
they
I'm
are.
glad that you know that you are.
Because then you can hear more all about my political ramblings on political culture Tuesday nights at 6 o'clock. Tomorrow night we'll be back with my good friend Vince Collins.
Okay.
I have a question for you guys. Who do you think Alex called? Because remember how, what's his face? I'm not going to remember any of the, was it Theo? No, it wasn't Theo. Or Tio. Who was the guy that she had, his name?
Fletcher.
Yes.
Remember when Fletcher said, call? And she's like, who do I call? He's like, anyone will be listening. Who do you think Alex called to then be on the phone and be like, I'm ready, and then have the person be all confused?
She
like,
probably
what
didn't
do you
even
think?
call. She probably picked up her phone and said, "Hey Siri, I'm ready," and then like that was it.
They showed up? I wish
And then
there
they
was
showed
a
up.
scene of
Yeah.
that.
I mean,
Yeah, that was a little weird that they didn't show like who she needed to call.
what happened?
Maybe there was a red phone.
Did she call like Domino's and then was she like...
She sent the pizza emoji and then it came out to her. Did you know you could do that, right?
Yeah.
You can send a pizza emoji to Domino's.
Everyone
I
knows
thought-
you can do
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
everyone
Well,
knows you
I
can
haven't
do
done it yet, but
I thought what was interesting though is that after she got out of the van with Owen and went up to Rourke and said, "Hey, this is what I have. This is what I'm going to give you to trust me," which was all of the stuff that they had on the collaborators. I thought that was interesting because she didn't know that the collaborators already have all that information because they've already wiped everything clean up until that point. So she's already giving them something that they already have.
I mean, they know themselves.
No, what I'm saying is before that whole scene with Owen and Alex, and
Yeah.
Alex going up to Fletcher with the briefcase and that really
Yeah.
awesome black outfit.
Yeah.
That's a cool black guy.
Right? They had already got everything wiped from their computers. That's why the whole freakout scene happened. And then at the end of the episode, she was giving them the briefcase with everything that they had on the collaborators, which they already have. If they've already wiped all the computers from them.
No. Alex and Owen wiped those computers.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
that
was the whole
That was the whole
we were talking
conversation
about-
that
Did I
Alex and
miss
Owen.
that?
Yeah. That was the.
It's okay, he's doing
You know
his
when Tim is trying to stop me from talking politics, and then he can't even figure out where the show
I'm
is
like,
happening.
what is
yes.
happening?
So,
Okay, I thought the guy was his dad.
oh my gosh.
This show gets really confusing sometimes.
So
you guys.
Alex and Owen had a conversation where Owen said, "We need to do something different," and that means turning one of us against us. And then Alex and Owen in their black suits, because there were two of them.
See, but they were both in black suits, so I didn't realize there was two people.
But
I
it
thought was
came
just
right
one
after the
person.
conversation.
Yeah, but then I was like, all of a sudden somebody was hacking Clay's office
No,
again,
that
which
was
is the
definitely
same thing
that was
happened at the
definitely
beginning of the
Alex and
episode.
Owen. That's
And
why.
that's what she handed over.
Yeah.
Oh.
She
That's
knew
why
what would
she
she
gave
knew
that
what would
over.
hurt them, which is taking the files away from them.
Oh. Well, thanks for keeping me abreast.
Yeah.
Okay, you learned something new every day on this show.
I know. Well, we definitely have a lot to learn. Next episode 19. Don't know what the episode title is of that, but I did want to mention real quick what MHORDER was, which is a cryptonym for
Oh, it's not in Hoarder?
MHORDER.
Hoarder.
It's a cryptonym for like negative. It's negative CIA publicity or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, which is exactly what the president got at the end of this, which is why the Act of 1870 does not matter. So we got a lot going on. We won't go into predictions because you just cannot predict what's going to happen on this show. You just don't know. We can predict that Shelby might sleep with Clayton Haas at some point.
And some cousins, some
Maybe
uncles.
Maxine.
And the president.
And the
Never
president.
know.
And the president. So, Renee, where can they find you on Twitter?
You guys can follow me at Renee Ariel on Instagram and on Twitter, and check out my new blog post, 15 Reasons It's Great to Be Single, on sextingandthecity.com.
It's a great blog. You guys should check it out. I am Timothy Michael. You can reach me on all social media platforms at I am Timothy Mike.
And I'm Drexel Heard. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Drexel Heard. Be sure to watch Political Culture tomorrow night. My good friend Vince Colonies from The Daily Caller will be talking with me about Trump's first 100 days. So check it out live tomorrow on Black Hollywood Live. We'll see you then.
Bye, guys.
Bye!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.